What's up? I'm Ethan with Fight Me On This.
I'm Jill. I coach Jill Dadipa.
I love that we get to just chill on this couch and podcast. I feel like it might need to be closer. There's Jill's pretty face. Oh, you turned red and cheekied?
Do you guys like my mushroom pillows? I got them off Temu, and I don't know if you can tell, but I thought they were going to be actually hand stitched. They're not, but that's okay. Still got mushrooms on it. Anywho,
What's your heart from the week?
I think my heart is just not feeling good in my skin. I talked to one of my friends about this the other day, and I feel like I've already mentioned it on the podcast, but I talked to my massage therapist about it too.
Therapist is in the title, it counts.
Of just not really understanding why my body is changing the way it is. Not that you guys would notice, and this is something I tell clients all the time, is that nobody really notices except for yourself, and nobody knows how much you weigh except for you. If you guys looked at me and saw me walking down the street, you wouldn't be like, whoa, Jill weighs almost 200 pounds. None of your brains would clock that. And there's nothing wrong with weighing that amount, but I also know that I don't need to, and I know that this is not typically where I sit. Even when I'm just maintaining, just hanging, just doing things, I'm usually in the 180s. So it just feels weird to have my body keep shifting and not really have a reason why. I can't really look and be like, oh, I've eaten thousands of extra calories, or I'm not working out anymore, I'm not walking. Even when I track my nutrition, I'm still around 2,000 calories. I'm over 160 grams of protein. I'm still hitting my steps. There's maybe one day a week where I don't hit my steps. There's been a couple of days in the last couple of weeks, but not inconsistent enough to be oh yeah, I'm eating 4,000 calories and no protein and not walking and not working out. So yeah, just frustrating to be in a body where I'm what, why are we doing this? And one of my best friends had a similar experience. She was continuing to gain weight, and then she got her IUD taken out, and things really shifted for her. And not saying that we get to just blame everything on hormones and birth control, but it's probably been the last year of me being something's not right here.
And Jill's talked about it before in a couple of other episodes. It's been hard a couple of times, and I want to honor the hard, because it's also extra frustrating when you're a professional. When you have the answers and you don't have them. You forgot to carry the two somewhere, except for you didn't, because you can see that you did all the work and you know the thing, and the outcome is exactly what it's supposed to be, except for it's not the outcome. So you're missing something. And as a professional in my own version of this currently, it's maddening, let alone wearing it just as a human being, as a female, as a.
Yeah, and even we talked about it on my TikTok live last night of I actually feel like I'm losing my mind every time my period rolls around, because it's not even oh, I'm a little grumpy, oh, I'm a little sad. It's I will cry over anything and everything for days, and my brain's really not kind for days. And it used to not be like that. I used to get my period and be cool, I'm bleeding, but everything else was fairly the same. So I did talk to my doctor last week, and I made an appointment for a couple of weeks out to get my IUD taken out, which we'll see. It'll either help or it won't, but it can't make it worse. So yeah. And also I've been on birth control since I was 12. So time to get rid of that.
Yeah.
What's
my hard is multiple really heavy moments since we last talked. And really heavy in very intrusive ways. And that will always be hard until I die. Those moments will always be heavy and hard, but the last couple have been really bad. And bad is a very loosely used term. Bad by the way of it doesn't feel good. It hurts. It hurts people around me, and it hurts me. It hurts my therapist. people that are invested in my life. Some of you guys are bothered, and I appreciate the care, but it'll just still always be fucking hard to, though I've made peace with it, to know that at any point in time, self-harm is on the table. But it's on the table not because I want to leave, it's on the table to keep worse things from happening. To know that self-harm is actually harm reduction is a crazy process to go through. There's a lot of time you really feel like you're taking crazy pills because you see the world through the lens of trauma. No matter how much you heal, you will never not have those fucking glasses on. You can change the lenses out, you can swap the frames. Still trauma lenses, still trauma glasses, still seeing the world like that. So when I have those moments of a flashback will trigger a memory that makes me feel really sad and gross. But the protector in me and the healing in me gets angry because that's not fair. But the anger in me wants to unalive the people that brought me into this world. And anybody that looks like them, anybody that has done anything like them, anybody that cares for them all the time. And sometimes it pours out. Sometimes it physically manifests itself. And that will always be hard. As Jill can confirm and speak for her own fucking experience with it, as we will get into in this episode, it's really heavy and hard. For me, it's less hard and intrusive than I would guess it is for Jill. Because I made peace with it. It still sucks. But I made peace with it. But it's never easy to see somebody care about, make a choice that you know is the safer of the two options, or the three options, or the four options. So that is my heart.
Yeah, it's been heavy in this house, and I never say that. Like, as much as I want to be like, I never say that as a bad thing. Like, it's a thing. Just a thing. So, yeah, it's been a lot of slow days, a lot of not doing more than we have to, and I think that's important.
And we have to do a lot. Like, yeah. We get to, but we have to, and that's fair and fine. But we do. We really have been not doing extra, but doing enough to not lose.
We are going to talk about self-harm today. We put out a call to just see if you guys have any questions on either end, on Ethan's side of using it as a form of harm reduction, and then also questions on my end of supporting somebody who does. And I think it's something that doesn't get talked about. It's something that's very like hush hush.
People think this about a lot of things that are ugly truths, is if you don't talk about them, they're not real. They can't possibly be true, but that's bullshit. If it happened, you would be fucking stunned to know who self-harms and how they self-harm. Because mine is very visible. One of my options is very visible. But it's not always visible. But before we get into the episode, and obviously we'll give you a couple more warnings, but this is your trigger warning. This will be sorry. I don't know what you want me to do.
I don't want this pillow. You can put
I want that pillow.
That's fine. Put it behind your head. That I lean back.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's going to be a heavy episode. Take your time with it if you need to. And reach out to us, please. And not that's not about caring about what we're going to talk about by way of caring for us. We appreciate that, but if you need support in the moment, if you have a question that brings something up for you, please feel free. Not to be shared on the show either, just to have a safe space to talk and vent and share and unload some of the heavy. You are more than welcome to. I'll remind you of that later. But before we get into the episode and the questions and comments that we got, what is your joy?
Oh, yeah. Skip that. That it's warm out.
Fuck yeah.
Like actually sweaty out. I like live for the sun. I always say like I am a Leo and not really very like personality wise, I don't think, but very much as in like season wise. Like just put me in the sun and I'm good. Leave me out there. Um, so like spent a lot of time in the sun over the weekend. Ethan sat outside with me, which was cool. Like I was like, I'm gonna go lay outside, and then he joined me, which doesn't feel like a big deal, but like I didn't think he was just gonna plop in the sun with me.
I don't sit still very well.
But like we made lunch.
It's not for not liking it.
And I don't
like, I'm just
and
saying,
I don't really sit still for that long either. Like if I go out this afternoon, I'll take my laptop with me and like set myself up so that my laptop can be in the shade and I can be in the sun. Like I don't really do sit in town and do nothing well either. But we like had lunch outside, listened to some music, edited some videos. It's nice to have a backyard again. It's nice to have a space to be outside where I don't have to be around people
and fully clothed.
And I had a nice giggle because like my butt cheeks are going to be out no matter what, even if I don't want them to be.
They're great.
They're out.
They're really great.
But we live in a neighborhood close to other houses, so I'm like, yep, our neighbors are going to see my butt cheeks. But then Ethan was tanning his butt cheeks too, so I'm like, mind your business, or you're going to see two sets of butt cheeks, and you probably only wanted to see one. So maybe we'll make Brian sit outside with his butt cheeks out too, and then our neighbors will stop looking in our yard.
Just make an Oreo of butt cheeks and
be like, listen, don't be looking at my butt cheeks because you're going to see more than just mine. But
just hear the timer go off and everybody turns. There's just black balls chilling. Like, this is what you didn't want. Hey, I'm in my motherfucking yard. This is my area.
Yeah, so it's nice to have like a space to be outside again.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed being less clothed because it's mandatory. I love the heat, but I love the heat because I like being not clothed. Just saying, it's a good time. Anyways, Joy. I had a fucking blast last weekend modeling. I got to model twice. There's a crazy amount of joy mixed in with all the heavy, and that's usually how it goes. And that I will also say that like while we do talk and share the uglies, and they do seem to have a lot of dark and cloud and heavy and weight around them. There's also balance to this when you're doing the work and doing the healing and on mission and doing your part in the universe. There's also a mix. There's a mix of moments of reprieve, and I like really needed a moment of reprieve last weekend in a very bad way, and I wasn't expecting it to go the way it did, but to get to model with my favorite photographer, Melissa. Shout out to Melissa, and Arsenic Noir Photography. If you want your kink, boudoir, crazy idea, if you like clowns, dark, fairies, demons, whatever the fuck you're into, if you're weird, that's your fucking photographer. And like then you get to hang out with me more because I'm now helping them do stuff, which is another part of the joy. I get to help them create and work on their vision, and that's fucking spectacular. But last weekend, doing portrait and being pulled into doing something I haven't got to do yet, and that's really practice my range and modeling range. Like I have the spicy, I have the commanding looks and all those things, and the body and the physique for it. But to have clothes on and to be just sitting on a stool and to work with Melissa and find range from covering a range of moods and genres and variety of poses. It was a blast to know that I was also as better than I thought I was at this craft. That there was a lot of moments that Melissa was stunned at how easily I picked it up. And there was moments that I flowed freely into and out of positions and poses that she wouldn't have thought of and that she enjoyed taking photos of. So I'm really excited to see that. And then Sunday, I got a big group collab. I got to work with, another shout out, D, someone I enjoy as a human on this fucking planet. Got to work with them for the first time ever, and we created 4, Jesus Christ, we worked a lot, 4 wild sets together. And again, a ton of range from really soft, but still in this high praise, royalty, protective role, and then into a very dark eye of control and command role, and then a group set that was equally dark and fun. So just a great bit of modeling and signed some contracts. Got signed to the Stampede for a fashion show. Yeah, so it's been a good couple of weeks for modeling through the heavy of life elsewhere.
Woohoo, Calgary Stampede.
I've
I
never
actually
been.
hate
Never
Calgary
been.
and the Stampede, but
I hate the Stampede. I don't, but I'm stoked to model with the group that I'm getting to go. This is practice. This is practice. This is practice. Practice for New York in the fall. Practice. Practice. Fucking. Oh my god. Anyway, sorry.
So we'll be at the Calgary Stampede. Not in a cowboy hat.
Not in a cowboy hat. Absolutely. Fuck that.
Um,
Although I could get my John Ware on.
You probably look good in a cowboy
I do.
hat, which
It's
would be
unfortunate. Anyways, welcome to episode 30, I think. 31. I don't know, we're up here now. This is fun. That's crazy. That's 30 weeks. Give or take. What the fuck?
There's spider webs on that window.
Gross. We put out, as Jill mentioned, a question box on self-harm, as I had spoken to a couple of moments earlier in a couple of episodes, and just with the way that my mental health has been going the last little bit, I think it's also really shining and dawning on me that I need to be speaking about this particular thing more as people navigate their own mental health and their journeys with it. And all we really said was, do you have questions for someone that utilizes self-harm as a tool but also still has to experience it, and or someone that has to be in the supporting role or gets to and choose to be in the supporting role with someone like me. And we got 2, 3, maybe, and longer questions, longer pieces. What we're going to talk about. Where would you like to start? How would you like to start?
I think, honestly, they both kind of relate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll read them both out. Then we can talk about, they're like same but different type of vibe. One says, my question is, how can I support someone who struggles with self-harm / suicidal ideations more as a professional? I work for children's services, and a lot of parents and children I work with struggle with this. A lot of what I do is conversations where I meet them where they're at, and we come up with a safe for now plan and go through, if they have a plan, ask them how I can support, etc. What suggestions would you have for me to better support them but still keep things professional with boundaries?
The hardest part about, that's such a great question, and I'm going to have to get it read and I'll read it again, is the professional part. And there's so many reasons for this. I can utilize my own story and experience with my therapist, Jay, not being able to be a part of my book because he can't be a part of my personal life, which is crazy considering he's one of the most important pieces of me still being alive. But in that, the professional part of caring for someone that self-harm is, professionals don't care. You can't care the way you would care for someone in your personal life. You can't hug that kid that way. You can't hold them while they sob. Like, there's so many ways to care for people in that headspace that professionals can't. They're not allowed to. And that's what makes that hard. It's not impossible. It just, there's lots of things that you're probably already doing that are helping so much more than you think they are. But that feeling comes from not necessarily the maternal piece, but it comes from caring for someone. You want them to be okay. We know that as they're there. As like, do you need a shoulder? As what do you like? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a frustrating piece for most professionals that are trying to care for someone, especially in this space. You can talk. I'm a read.
Yeah, I think even in my own way, when it comes to caring for my clients and making sure they're good outside of just health and fitness, is making sure they have support outside of me. As much as my clients have the space to talk about whatever they want, whenever they want, I'm through a computer screen. So making sure there's some sort of support set up outside of that. Even with Ethan, obviously, I don't have to be professional with him, but like, does he have a professional to talk? Like, it goes both ways. Of like, as much as I'm Ethan's personal support, he also has professional support. For my clients, like, for my clients, do you actually have a professional to talk to about this? I'm your nutrition coach, not your therapist, even though I'm both most of the time. Do you have people in your life that can actually come and hold you and sit with you and hug you? Like, making sure there's other supports, which I'm assuming you probably already do, but
Yeah, and excuse me, sorry. And that is again the roadblock in front of you is the professional need. There's not much more you can do. You're coming up with a safe for now plan, which is a big deal. My brain immediately goes to pick apart a safe for now plan, but I won't because it's counterproductive. And I don't want to pick it apart to prove that it needs more work. It's because safe for now looks different for everybody. And that's a part of my story. Because safe for now and telling someone, this is a crazy episode. In my instance, telling someone not to cut. When I was a teenager that went off the deep end, when I wasn't cutting, I was violent with everybody else. Nobody close to me. I was just a mean fuck. Because there's no more need to be afraid of anything. I didn't have a home to go to. I was out running around and people had problems that needed solving. I didn't really care to live, but I might as well be the monster everybody thinks I am. So here we go. And that was great. Like, loved getting punched in the face. It was beautiful. It would just bring out a different version of me. It would be cathartic to feel that connection wherever it landed. And then it was on. And then it was fine. Everything was fine after that. And it wasn't until I was, I don't know, 19, and realized that the same level of calm, that same switch without the anger, was the same thing I felt when the blade would touch my skin. The same moment of absolute peace and calm. The need to dump energy, because it still hurts. It registers in the body as pain. But the brain converts it, for me, to something different. And that's a part of a safe for now plan that my body wants to reject, is that safe for now to a professional that read a book is don't do that thing. So you fill it with shame. Enough of us hear it from society that when a professional says it to us, it sticks worse. In and of itself, there's not much more you can do as a professional. You're keeping them safe in the moment. You're double checking that they have enough safety around them to exit your space. And you check in, I would assume. And like, I don't want to make an ass out of you and me, but like, I would hedge an educated guess you're checking in within the boundaries that you have as a professional. That's more than they probably get from people that care for them. And maybe that's part of making peace with it. And I'm sure you've weighed those options before. Is that the care you are currently providing, and I can speak to this from experience, it's so much more than they're probably getting already. That's why you have the professional sticker. It's why you have the boundary and the own safeguard around your job and career and livelihood, because those boundaries also keep you very safe. Because the problem with people that are in the self-harm space is most of us have attachment and abandonment issues. So then we latch onto things that show care or immediately run from it 50-50, but you've already made contact and they're there, so you got the care. So the professional boundary is also a safeguard because you're a professional. So it's not necessarily, as much as it sucks, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sorry. I just want to
This
talk a
is
lot
your
about.
wheelhouse.
I talk a lot about. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's hard to keep those boundaries as like obviously you're a human that cares, or you wouldn't be asking how you can do more. And it's just like knowing where your role is, knowing where your piece comes in, but also knowing that like for their safety, your safety, you can't necessarily overstep that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a direct question we got from someone, but it's also like this goes for everybody that's in a professional setting that has people around them that they're caring for that are in a tough spot and a tough place in their head. As much as you want to care more, caring within your boundaries is not only the healthiest and safest, it's the literal best thing for this person. Even if they push back, they're pushing back because it's good, whether they admit it out loud. One of the things that I should probably speak more about was like how often I would push good things away. I still do. I do because I test the things. I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of failing these fucking tests that I didn't know that I was participating in. So now I just have the test. When it gets hard, I just push because it's easy. It's easier for people to leave, and then they don't get access to the rest of it. So I might as well just push. And even to Jill's credit, like to really credit and honor Jill, like she still has to remind me and reassure me that she's here with me in the suck as the best to the best of her abilities. But she always does. At 34 years old, it's still terrifying because I didn't ask for my brain to be wired this way. And yeah, I pushed people away. I had to. They broke and left. It wasn't even like I pushed hard. I existed as I am. I just let the dam open a little bit more. Jill's the first and only person that's actually been in the room as I'm self-harming and seen it within reason, ever. Had anybody else walked in that room, they would have been hurt. Because there's no interrupting, trying to relieve the pressure. Apparently Jill can. Even if only for a moment.
Yeah, I didn't actually even think about it. I left to give Ethan some space for a second, and then I came back to say something. I don't remember. And as soon as I opened the door, I was like surprised he let me open the door, which he even said to himself, like he's like, "I'm surprised you made it this far." And I think that's been like the biggest shift for me, and like the most helpful thing for me is like knowing that it's not about you trying to kill yourself, because that will always stress me out with anyone, as it would with anybody who cares about somebody. Um, so that's been like helpful to understand on my end. Um, but yeah, just reminding people that like you're not going anywhere, and like don't make promises you can't keep, because I think especially when we're helping people navigate their mental health and things like that, the care in us can overpromise sometimes, um, and that can do a lot of damage down the road. That can very quickly turn into like, but you said you wouldn't do this. So just making sure we're not like making promises we can't keep, especially as a professional. Um, and then also making sure you're doing things for yourself. Like even with my work with my client calls, like not that my calls are necessarily heavy, but it is usually me helping people work through their problems, which I love to do. But you'll hear me every time I shut my laptop. I'm like, every time, because when I did in-person work, I would like pick that all up and take it with me. And I was like, your problem is my problem. I will solve it. Which like we've worked on that side of I don't have to fix everyone. But like when you're being told everybody's life story all day long, you're going to take pieces of it with you. And my massage therapist at one point, little bit woo woo, but also not, like the right side of your body is your personal side. So if you're like dealing with lots of osteopaths, massage therapists, and things like that, will say if you're dealing with like pain in the right side of your body, it's usually something personal. And like when I tell you this woman could not get anything in the right side of my body to relax ever. And then once I started to actually have a process of like physically shaking it off when I was done with clients, and then also ended a really terrible relationship, she was like, oh, look, I can finally get the right side of your body to relax. But having some sort of process for yourself when you come out of those meetings, when you come out of those planning sessions, to like be able to let it go and not just take it all with you, because that's going to make it hard for you to support more people down the road.
Yeah. What was the second one?
This one is far more personal. We had somebody send in a question about their kid, and I'm going to use my dog's name so that there's no personal information being shared. My dog's name is Nola, in case you guys don't know. So don't think I'm giving away some secrets right now. Nola has been getting picked on at school. She's almost 10. I'm not sure she really knows what self-harm is or what it means. But she said she's so sick of being picked on and made fun of. And it makes her want to hurt herself. We're trying to solve this by talking to teachers, etc. She's in therapy, but I'm wondering if there's anything more I can be doing or saying. I always try to be very supportive and positive to her.
Yeah, arguing, parts of me are arguing with each other currently on how to answer this, and so I might have to answer it multiple ways. Yeah, as a parent, and still a newer parent, I'm still figuring this out, and I only have so many skills as a parent. Protector's one of my best. Not always useful, not really appropriate, because like it's just like kill on sight. I don't have a range. I don't even want you around my kid. I'm just gonna snuff out your existence. And so I don't handle a lot of kid things. Because in my brain, my kid gets bullied and all of a sudden wants to hurt herself. I'm hurting somebody else. Not healthy. Not appropriate. Okay, hold on. Sometimes appropriate. Depends on who you hurt. Anyway, so there's that side of me. But there's also like the logical side of how your kid's 10. And your kid definitely knows what self-harm is. And I say that because I am a 90s baby, and I knew what killing yourself was at 6. And that's not because of my fucking story. It's because of school.
I was going to say, and now we're in the year 2025 where there's shows like 13 Reasons on Netflix, which I know your kid is young, but everything ends up on the internet. And
like literally everything. If
you haven't seen 13 Reasons, it's literally about the 13 reasons why somebody chose to unalive themselves. So like there's more info than ever.
With the argument about like currently all the hatred against the queer and gay LGBTQS2L, all that thing is kill yourself. That's the only thing you hear. You hear it everywhere. KYS. See that anywhere? That's kill yourself. If you don't know that as a parent, for the record, all of you old fucks with love, KYS, kill yourself. If you see that anywhere, that's what that means. They abbreviate. Make me sick. I'm not mad at the question asker. I'm mad in general that it's gotten to this point. Because your kid does know. For sure. Does 100% know. And that's not said to scare you. It's to remove your naivety about it. It's to remove the not willful ignorance, just the ignorance about it. Your kid's not that protected. They go just motherfuck guys. Okay, now I'm annoyed. They're away from you all day with little fucks ungoverned by an underpaid single white lady. What are you talking about? You think that you have an influence on guarding your children when you can't even fucking agree on the internet that you're, oh, I'm good. I'm going to breathe.
I think something that might be helpful, I'll handle the
Thank
other
you.
side of this. Something that might be helpful for you as a parent is asking questions. You said you want to hurt yourself. What does that look like? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, start with
Like,
that one.
see-
Start with that one. Not what does that look like. You don't want that answer. That's not it. That's not an important question. Sorry, love. I'm going to interject. The second one you asked is the most important question. What does that mean to you? And then you got to, I have a face. So do you. Neutral. I understand. Positive noises. I see. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
You like fight everything you know. And all the things that if a tear falls, a tear falls because it is sad. And it also brings in the empathy, but it's you have to hold space and keep your goddamn self out of it. This is about your kid. And this is for everybody, not just who asked this. Sorry, this is I'm not being direct. This is out there.
Yeah, like if you freak out, then like I'm pulling back.
I'll never tell you something again, and I mean that. That's not a cliche.
It's even when unrelated to self-harm, but like when I was in junior high and high school and I would ask my mom to go and do something and she would freak out and say, no, great, now I'm just going to go do it and not tell you. So like same rule applies to anything. My mom used to say all the time she hated that I was sneaky. That behavior was learned. Most kids aren't born sneaky. Most kids want to tell you things, but something along the road has deemed that unsafe, so now I'll just do it and not tell anyone.
You'd be shocked what your kids aren't telling you.
With whatever, smoking weed, self-harm, whatever, somebody has made it unsafe for me to say it out loud, so I just won't say it out loud anymore.
And this is like this is not even like a parenting class. This is existing around kids, because I'll say this, though I am a parent, I'm not one. But my kid hears everything I say. I have a big voice, but I mean hears everything I say. This is everybody's kid. They are sponges of can't help it. And so when you laughed at a joke on a show, when someone in your family said something and you went, ha, and agreed, even though you didn't, everything's logged away. So you might have already made yourself unsafe. That's on you to fix, by the way. Not your kid. That's on you to fix and work on until they deem you safe again, for the fucking record. Now,
there's a lot of noises happening
back
outside
to the original question. I think what Jill was touching on is one of the most important, and again, like really holding the space for that conversation and letting their vernacular lead the conversation. Don't use big words. Don't use your fucked up adult education. Shut up. Reduce yourself and have a conversation with your kid.
Sometimes it's as simple with kids. Like, as much as I don't want kids, I worked with kids for a long time, and communicating with kids is a skill. Everybody, I'm assuming, as parents knows this. But like, let them lead. What does that mean to you? Can you explain that more? Can you tell me more about that? Like, asking those open-ended questions to let them share.
I don't know. Yeah, baby, you do. You were there. I wasn't there. You were. How about I ask the question different? And you just keep trying, because my 8-year-old doesn't know shit for how goddamn kids intelligent.
Like, if I've learned one thing, kids go to is I don't know, and then I just want to throw hands because I'm like it could be about anything, which is like not helpful. But that's what we mean by like take yourself out of it. Of like, well, can you think about it for a little bit?
Yeah, and like sometimes I just have to mute or turn the TV off for a second because my kid's my level of autistic and won't release until it's gone. And like I get it, so I can't get frustrated because it's mine. I did that too. Yep. Look at me go. So I also it's easy because for me in that moment because it is me. I love her autism brain. It's way too much like me, but it really is funny. So I'm able to understand my kid that way, and so meeting her there is. It frustrates the fuck out of me. But so what? If I want her to tell me shit, and though it takes some time, like, she tells me lots. I learn a lot about my kid every time she's here. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth. Sometimes she won't shut up. I look for both equally, as we all should. Again, I'm not telling you how to fucking parent. I'm telling you how to exist with another human that's this big.
And also just like exist around humans. Like if your friend was to come to you and be like, I'm want to hurt myself, you would probably have a similar narrative of like, can you tell me more about that?
And you also, though your friend is closer to your age, would still meet them wherever they are. If they're soft, like, I'm talking to you guys soft until I get excited and then you can hear my tone change. But there's a reason that I'm down here. There's a reason that I'm calm, and because it's already heavy. It's already a uncomfortable thing. So why make it more uncomfortable by talking up here where I can get in your face about the thing and then, like, you really do no self harm? Like, why?
And also make yourself smaller than them if you can. I do it to Ethan still too. If he's sitting on the edge of something, I will sit on the floor. And as much
I
as
kneel with Amara, especially when she walks in the house.
yeah, as much as it's like doesn't seem like a big thing, like you're already their parent. You're already smarter than them, older than them, bigger than them, all of these things. And if you can put yourself at their level or even lower, now all of a sudden they're in charge. They're the important one for once. And it just like it's a little thing that makes people more comfortable to not be like, oh my god, someone's talking down to me right now. Somebody's on my level or lower.
Everybody is like this. If you look at Jill and my videos, and most genuine influencers or people with shit to say, we hold our cameras up here or we set them up where we have to slightly look up so that your perspective is if you're looking down at us. It's the exact same perspective shift. And I learned that from Jesse early on in my career. I used to put them down here because I was lazy. He's like, that's such a weird thing because then it looks like you're looking down at people. Shift your camera angle and people will actually retain more. And he's been right the whole time. It's crazy. So this thing continues into our adult life. We just don't notice it.
Yeah. Just going back to
Yeah.
make sure we got on. Yeah. I would say biggest thing you can do more, like keep it positive, keep it supportive, keep it gentle, but ask questions. Get them to explain a little bit more. Get them to talk about it more.
Yep. Sorry. You're right. I wanted to jump in about, because we touched on reactions and like being gentle. If you're like me and are big with your emotions, it's okay to excuse yourself for a second in a gentle way. To take a moment to say, thank you for sharing that, but that was heavy. I would like to collect my thoughts. Is it okay if I take a second? I'm just going to use a washroom. And just take a second and breathe, because those emotions are valid, but they're not always beneficial.
Yeah, I think when I, again, have to do with Ethan, of like, I will walk out of the room and be like, I'll be back in a second. But when there's already one set of heightened emotions, you don't need two. And this is going to be uncomfy to talk about on all ends, but you don't need to be matching emotions with the person who is supposed to feel safe to share.
Yeah. Yeah. It's uncomfortable. It's scary being vulnerable, but you're the adult. You have more practice.
And same rules applied to before. Like, they need you to make sure you have support on your end too. I wouldn't be able to do this with Ethan if I didn't have my own versions of support the other way outside of him. So like make sure you have somebody to talk to about it too, because as much as it's not your thing, that's your kid. And there's gonna be things that come up for you in the wheelhouse of what did I do wrong? What can I do more? Blah, 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 blah. So make sure you have something on your end so that you can continue to be a safe space for your kid.
And I think that last point you made is really important. Everybody wants to wear their responsibility for something. We all point fingers. Most of us point here. I'm bad at pointing out as much as I point here. Someone has to be to blame, but in those moments, it's so not useful. And it does more damage for you because now you're wearing something that isn't yours. The mental health is an individual experience as much as we need community to heal it. Your kid feeling the way they do, to my point earlier, they're away from you all day. And you matter less. They want friends. They're trying to learn how to have a life outside of you in 18 years. The goal is to fit in for them in some way, to have a group of their own. Your job is to give them a safe place to fall as they fumble shit, drag them by the hand, give them a hug, kiss their boo-boo, send them on their way. They're going to come back with more. When we said that, we just didn't consider that those boo-boos may be self-inflicted. You still have to kiss them. And you still have to send them back on their way. It's a part of this process. It's a part of this beautiful thing that we get to do out here. As ugly as it is, even in these moments, there's beauty on the other side of it. I'm sitting here talking to you guys. This is the most I have talked about my self-harm journey ever, outside of my book. I think there's a line in there that says there's more than 2,000 cuts in my arm. There's more now. What an honor to get to share with you. What an honor to hold this space with you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for those that asked questions, for that had comments. We look forward to fielding more and to holding more of these conversations. These tough, heavy, not so funny conversations. Shifting the lens and your perspectives as we go. As always, I am Ethan with Fight Me on this.
I'm Jen at CoachShield.April. I will catch you next time.
Bye.